North Las Vegas, and KSHP.com.
Clear Sky Resorts invites you to experience indoors and out, and nights in your Sky Dome will be like sleeping in an aquarium of stars. Located in Cannonville, Utah, on scenic Byway 12, voted one of the most scenic roads in America, the resort will feature lots of fun on-resort activities, as well as one of the world's largest glass-domed restaurants. To book your reservation, please call 1-888-704-4445 or visit clearskyresorts.com.
The views and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the program's participants and do not necessarily reflect those of station staff, management, and advertisers.
What's going on, everybody? Happy Tuesday. Welcome. It is Pushing the Limits on what is another very busy news day. Hey, we're on the YouTube Super Chat. Questions and comments will be read live on the air. Of course, the Facebook fan page, we just passed, I think, 71,000 subs on there. We've only been active on there for a few months, so fastly growing, and we appreciate you being a part of the show. Obviously, a lot more to get to, including Tim Walz, Donald Trump. What did they talk about on the phone? And Donald Trump now talking about how, quote, you can't have guns. That's a very interesting statement from a party that you couldn't get more pro-gun than where these MAGA Republicans are at right now. So we're talking a little bit about that. And, you know, they've been attacking Alex Preddy nonstop since the shooting, right? We know what Stephen Miller called him, an assassin. We also know that Kristi Noem called out this guy Preddy, called him a domestic terrorist. They've been attacking Preddy nonstop since this shooting happened. Nonstop. But yet, Donald Trump today says, well, it seems like he has a nice family. It's a very sad situation. Well, guess what? Then don't call him a domestic terrorist. Don't call him an assassin. It is so beyond the pale to me. It is so sickening. Coming up here in just a few minutes, we're going to be joined by Ron Filipkowski, Midas Touch. He's going to be joining us here in just a few. Planning on having an all-out, duke-it-out debate, MAGA debate, with a guy by the name of Will Johnson coming up at the bottom of the hour, who seems to defend these ICE thugs. I just don't seem to understand it. But joining us on the program right now, he is the editor-in-chief of Midas Touch and certainly one of the hardest working guys in the business. Always a pleasure having Ron Filipkowski join us on the program. Ron, it's good to see you, my friend. How are you?
You too. Doing well. Doing well. How you doing, Brian?
Ron, are you there? I don't hear you.
Oh, you can't hear
there
me?
You go. I got you now, Ron. Go right ahead.
All right. Sorry. You were going in and out on me earlier too. So.
Hopefully you hear me loud and clear now. Everything sound good on your end? Great.
Yep.
Great. Well, thanks for joining us, Ron. I really do appreciate it. Obviously, a lot going on. I want to start with this. The comment that Donald Trump just made a little over an hour ago, talking about the gun violence and what took place, obviously, with Alex Preddy. And he says, quote, you can't have guns. You can't walk in with a gun. I'm wondering what you make of that statement from a party that seems to be so pro-gun.
Well, keep in mind that Donald Trump has never been pro-gun personally. This is an issue that's sort of like abortion for him, where Trump has never owned a gun. Like he's always had security. He doesn't think about guns. He's never shot a gun. He's not a gun guy, but he's aware that the people in his party are, but this is not something that's like he's passionate about. Same thing with abortion. Every time you try to bring up abortion with him, he doesn't want to talk about it. He just, I don't know, whatever, leave it up to the states. He doesn't really care. He doesn't feel that passionately about the issue. So I think this is another one of those issues. So that's why he's very flip about it when they ask him about, gun rights. He's just like, they shouldn't have brought it. But the thing is that there's so many people that are very active in his party that are very serious about, they don't want any gun laws. They don't want you to have a permit. They want to have open carry. I mean, that's the position of a huge number of people in his movement, if not the majority.
Yeah.
So when he brings up like, you shouldn't bring a gun here, you shouldn't bring a gun here, that triggers them. They get very upset about that. And even the NRA, and issued a statement about it, and the Gun Owners of America did as well, sort of rebuking him on that stuff.
Yeah. I actually saw that. It's interesting because he was asked about, obviously, the Preddy shooting. He said it's very sad. He said that Preddy has a wonderful family. To your knowledge, has he even talked with this family? Because I haven't heard that he has.
No, I tell you where that comes from is that somebody told him that they were Trump supporters. I don't know whether that's true or not, but I read that in a story that he said, I heard they're Trump supporters. So that automatically, he doesn't need to know anything else. If he thinks that they voted for him, then they're good people.
Just insane and ridiculous. And, in regards to this shooting, it's amazing, right? Because you had, as you know, Ron, Stephen Miller calling this man who was killed an assassin. Kristi Noem, once again, round number 2, calling him a domestic terrorist. And then Donald Trump today making it seem like, well, this is very sad, nice family. I mean, I don't understand. For the last several days, basically everybody in Donald Trump's orbit has been calling this guy a terrorist, right?
Yeah, he's trying to sort of triangulate here. It's a really weird scenario to watch it play out with his base, because he understands that the vast majority of the country, like 65% in every poll, is against this shooting, thinks that this was done wrong. There needs to be a serious investigation, all of that. But his hardcore base is 100% defending it. And, and Fox News is, and Newsmax is, and all their media, all their podcasters are all defending it. So Trump is trying to get over with the 65% without completely alienating his people. Mm-hmm. And that's why sort of he's saying conciliatory-ish things, but meanwhile, all of his henchmen continue to go on TV. Caroline Leavitt, the DHS spokesperson as well, multiple people, and they haven't walked back anything. And
right.
No one's apologized. No one said they're sorry. No one said it was wrong. Trump said today, no, I don't think he was an assassin, like Stephen Miller said. Okay, well, that's Trump. Trump said that, but no one else. I mean, even when Caroline Leavitt point blank is asked, does the administration, and Tricia McLaughlin, the DHS spokesman, does the administration want to take back those comments that he's a domestic terrorist? She would not answer. Neither one of them would answer the question.
She dodged that question yesterday. There's certainly no doubt about that. Ron, we've been covering the fact that earlier today we've learned that a week prior to Alex Preddy being shot and killed, he had another run-in, for lack of a better term, with some ICE agents where they didn't arrest him and they broke his rib. What can you tell us about this story? Because I've heard conflicting reports of what happened, but we know that he wasn't arrested. So what exactly happened?
I don't know details on that, honestly. I because I haven't seen it reported in a mainstream outlet. I've seen it on social media,
right,
mostly from right-wing influencers. So I don't trust anything that they say about something like that. So I have been looking for like a mainstream source that did a story on that, and I haven't been able to find it.
Yeah. Understood. I want to get your thoughts on just the video in general, right? Because we're probably going to agree on this. Both of our eyes, they don't lie, right? I mean, obviously, Alex Preddy, when you take out your cell phone and you're in a situation where someone's being pushed to the ground and you're there, you're probably putting yourself in a dangerous position. But I'm not saying you broke the law. He never brandished the weapon, right? Kristi Noem said he brandished the weapon. He never did so. And in the video, at least it appears to me, he puts one of his hands up while recording, and he's pepper sprayed. He's pushed to the ground. He's beaten by multiple officers. And it appears as though they take the gun, or at least one of the men takes the gun off his person after someone says gun, 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 and then they shoot him seconds later unarmed. Did I get that right? Because that's what I saw from these multiple camera angles.
Yes. And here's the problem is that I just read a story that came out today. Apparently there has been 14 shootings done by either ICE or Border Patrol, 14 in the last several months. And all 14 of them DHS officials immediately cleared them before any investigation was done. They said they're innocent. They did nothing wrong. That I was in the criminal justice system for 29 years. Like, that is not how it works. You know, when there is an officer involved shooting anywhere in the country, any police agency, nobody says anything. You give a sort of a vague preliminary statement. The officer goes on administrative leave. An outside impartial person is brought in to investigate the shooting, and it takes its course. But that is not how this particular administration is operating. They run out there 5 minutes after the shooting happens and they say, he's innocent, he did nothing wrong, and trash the victim. Did the same thing with Renee Good. If they had come out in this incident and said, look, instead of calling him domestic terrorist, assassin, all that stuff, like what they did, if they came out and just said, look, it appears to us, based on statements from the officer by the video, that he got in their way, he obstructed them, and at some point during the subsequent altercation, one of the officers saw a gun, attempted to pull the gun, and it discharged, and that caused all of the other agents to panic. And I think that is sort of the narrative that's developing right now from the government. I think that's ultimately going to be their defense. But why didn't they just say that at the beginning? Because that's a story that, and then follow that up by saying, and we're going to thoroughly investigate this. Now, and we're going to place the officer on administrative leave. We're not going to send him right back out on the street. Now, if they'd have just handled it that way, which is the way every law enforcement agency in America handles these shootings, then I think, you know, a decent majority of the country would probably be willing to reserve judgment. But the problem is that's not how they conduct business.
Ron, I agree. My reaction to that would have been, listen, I don't like the way ICE is handling things, or Border Patrol agents. This is an unfortunate situation. It's sad. But at least I would say, okay, that makes a little bit more sense than originally what they said, that this guy is somehow some sort of assassin, this nurse who dedicated his entire life to helping others. In fact, Ron, in the video, you hear him say, "Are you okay?" to the woman that was just pushed to the ground. Right. I mean, in the last moments of his life, he's thinking about a complete stranger. By all intents and purposes, from his friends and patients that he worked on, they all say the same thing about him. Quiet, well-mannered, caring individual. And they're calling him an assassin. Why can't, if Stephen Miller had any decency at all, which we know he doesn't, he would come out and say, you know what? I shouldn't have said that. I apologize to the family. With that being said, let there be a full investigation. But they won't do that.
Miller, Nome, and Bovino all each said that he went out there. This guy went out there with the intention to assassinate multiple federal agents, even though there's no evidence at all of that. Zero. I mean, the guy never even put his hand on the gun. Right. So he had a phone. If that's what he wanted to do, was go out there and blast away, that's what he would have done. Correct. He would have had the gun and not a phone.
Correct. He never brandished the gun.
You know, that's what I think is causing the vast majority of the country to not get on board with this administration right now on either this case or deportations generally. You know, we were just talking about this with Midas earlier today, which is we looked at the polls from January right before Trump took office. The country overwhelmingly, every single poll said that they favor mass deportations of people who are not here legally. It was like consistently every poll. Now they're all reversed. And that is because of the way Trump has handled this. Yeah. That's it. He blew it. This is his number one issue. He had a strong majority of the country behind him, but the way that these people have handled it in such a heavy-handed, fascistic way, they lost the country on the issue.
Completely agree with you. Ron, what do you think really happened in that phone call with Tim Walz and Donald Trump? Because you have Donald Trump coming out, and we can't believe a word that he says. I saw your tweet on this too. Like you know, everything that Trump says about like the perfect phone call, right? We can't believe anything. I'm wondering, because I believe that Tim Walz maybe tried to knock some sense into Trump and said, we can't have innocent people dying on the streets. Here's what's been going on. I'll help you with local law enforcement, but we got to get Bovino out of there. We got to lower the temperature. That's what I think really happened. What do you think really happened in this phone call?
Okay, I'll get to that. And I'll just say first that, you know, it is a pattern with Trump that Every single time he has a phone call, whether it's with Carney or Xi or Macron or Merz or Putin or Modi, I'm just thinking of all the examples in my head of times that this has happened. Netanyahu, and then he puts out a True Social post, and then that world leader puts out a statement that is like, no, that's not what was said. I mean, this literally happens like every single day. Twice it happened today. Carney put out a statement saying, no, they claim that he walked back what he said in his speech in Switzerland, in Davos. And he's like, no, I never said that. I stand by every word. So it's like, this is what Trump does, because his followers believe it. Trump won again. They surrendered. So he's doing the same thing with Walz. What all the reporting is that Trump is looking, Axios reported this, and Mark Caputo was the reporter. So he's got Susie Wiles on speed dial. So he's got inside sources. Okay. And what he said is Trump wants out of Minnesota. He's ready to move on. There's hardly any migrants there to begin with. And he wants out of there because it's more of a hassle and a headache than it's worth. Yeah. So he's looking for a way to kind of get out honorably, was the word that they used. Saving face, trying to kind of gradually pull out, make it look like they won. They accomplished something. So I think that's what they're looking for from Walz, is sort of Walz to throw them a few bones so they could say, we got Walz to back down on X, Y, and Z. So with all things Trump, you have to wait and see exactly what the details are. As far as there has to be an independent investigation allowed by the state agency. That's what Walz has said he insists on, of both shootings. You cannot have DHS come right out 5 minutes after the shooting and say they're totally exonerated, not guilty, without talking to any witnesses or anything. I mean, that's got to be like the bottom line. Withdraw the agents, take the masks off, disclose the name of the officers who shot Preddy. How about that? We don't even know their name.
Doxing. And by the way, I wanted to bring this up with you, Ron, because you've talked about this, and I spoke about this with my guest yesterday. This is not doxing, right? Because these are not private FBI undercover agents. This is not doxing, right, Ron? Can you please explain that to the listeners?
Yeah. I mean, doxing is putting someone's home address and or someone's business address online, or contact information, or putting your relatives or your spouse or your kids, stuff on where they go to school, that kind of thing. In other words, providing information or your phone number where somebody could contact you or find you. So putting out someone's name, I mean, I got accused of it back a long time ago when Biden was president, in a major national story where the guy prank called Biden over Christmas. And I was the one who figured out who he was. I put his name out and got accused of doxing. So that's what it is. So no, I mean, an officer working, who is your name? You're a federal agent out on the street, not undercover, working in public, and we can't know your name under no circumstances, and we can't even see your face.
Yeah, can we talk about
what happens in totalitarian, authoritarian countries? It has never happened in the United States until Donald Trump.
I wanted to ask you, that was my next question to you, is the masks, right? What type of country are we living in where you have these officers, Border Patrol agents covering their faces, Ron? I mean, is that even legal? I mean, what is going on here?
No, it's outrageous. I mean, it is legal in terms of they can set their own policy, but I know that this is something. Look, the government's about to shut down again on Friday, and this is one of the conditions. Democrats have 5 conditions to vote for the DHS funding bill, and one of them is this: taking the masks off, because what's their excuse? Well, you'll find out who we are, and then we get a lot of threats. Well, every police officer in America gets a lot of threats. It comes with the territory. It's part of the job. It's what you signed up for. And by the way, so if there's 100 of you out there and nobody's doing anything wrong, you have nothing to worry about. But the fact that an officer in the United States, a law enforcement officer who's not working in an undercover capacity, cannot show his face in public while he is working, is totally outrageous. It's un-American. It goes against everything we believe in, and it's got to stop. It's got to end, and Democrats must stick to their guns on this. Good luck getting any more money through the Senate for DHS until you take the masks off. That's what I keep telling them to do.
And another thing that I'm amazed by, but I guess I shouldn't be surprised, the Megyn Kelly types on social media saying that we should be banning whistles. I mean, people out there that are basically, it's crazy. People out there that are attacking peaceful protesters with signs. You can't honk your horn. We've even heard Kristi Noem talk about this. Oh my God, they're honking their horns. They're blowing their whistles. What are we doing here? You can't blow a whistle in public?
So this is the thing that has been really getting to the officers, which is everywhere they go, people are blowing whistles in their face, and they're also at night standing outside of their hotels doing it as well, 2, 3 in the morning, keeping them up all night. And that obviously is something that wears you down. I mean, you have 50 people blowing loud whistles in your ear while you're working all day long. That's going to get to you. So this is the tactic that has really been bothering them. It's like the first thing that actually has worked to bother them. And so that's why they're all freaked out. They want to take what they're now claiming is that it's dangerous. It disorients them and causes them to lose focus, and therefore people can get hurt. But that's, again, we have a First Amendment. You have a right to speak. It's a public place. It's during the day. Even in a hotel, it's a public place, unless they have some noise restrictions or noise ordinances in the jurisdiction. So, right. There is nothing illegal. It's First Amendment protected stuff, and they can cry about it all they want.
Yeah, I commend people, and I think they should blow more whistles. I say whistle them up as long as possible. If you're just joining us, Editor-in-Chief from Midas Touch, Ron Filipkowski. So, Ron, I want to ask you, I hate to bring up Melania Trump here, because I just can't stand talking about her. But at the same time, Donald Trump is promoting this documentary she's in, and she does this interview, and she says she's against riots, right? And she does this interview. So she's against riots, and I guess she's against peaceful protesting too. I don't know. But what did you make of this interview that she did promoting her stupid documentary, and now saying that she's got some more policies she wants to implement, as if she's a policymaker?
Yeah, so here's the problem. The problem is, she wants to do this this movie tour to promote her movie, because look, I actually follow her agent, and I read everything he posts, and all the reporting from him and others is like, she very cares, like this is her baby. Like, she cares about this movie passionately, and she really, really wants it to do well. She wants it to win awards. She wants big box office numbers, and everything we can tell, that is not going to happen. Not even close. But she is like really deep into this. So what do you do if you're her? The problem is you can't go on a traditional book tour. You can't go on The View. You can't go on CNN. She's not going to do any of that. ABC, CBS. She's not going to do the morning shows. She's only going to go on Fox and Newsmax, which limits her. And then what is she going to talk about? So they want to talk to her about the news of the day, but she doesn't know anything. She literally doesn't know anything. So she gets these little talking points from her chief of staff, of whatever issue she's supposedly working on. I think her latest thing is like AI endangering children online, which is, okay, that's something we can all agree on, which is very typical to give something like that to a first lady, non-controversial stuff. So, so it's sort of funny to me, because she doesn't speak English very well, despite being in the country for 30 years, and she doesn't know anything about anything. And so it's kind of funny to watch her interviews. But from what I can tell, Bezos has put $75 million into this thing, 35 million promotion, 40 million to Melania. And it might be lucky maybe to get 5-10 million back.
Yeah, they might just get a very small percentage of that money back in that interview. And I don't need to dissect it with you, but there's a portion in the interview where she says she's establishing the East Wing of the White House. Does she not understand that her husband bulldozed the East Wing? Does she not know that? I mean, I couldn't believe she even said that in the interview. It's crazy. I don't know if you saw that clip.
I didn't catch that. Yeah, there is no East Wing anymore. Maybe she's talking about whatever new East Wing is being built. But yeah, I mean, that's, by the way, that's a nightmare. Some group just filed a lawsuit to stop construction of the ballroom. So that's going to court now too. That I tell you, I don't think that thing's going to be finished in the next 3 years.
No, I don't think so either. And I think the new president can bulldoze it and put it back to the way it was before. Let's hope maybe that's a Gavin Newsom. You know, I do want to ask you about that. I mean, it does seem like Gavin Newsom has been doing some interviews, and it seems like he's still the front runner right now. I mean, do you see anybody else that can really challenge him at this point? I know we have a long ways to go here, but certainly to me, it seems like Gavin Newsom is the front runner right now, clearly.
Yeah, I wasn't like the hugest fan of his Davos trip. I thought he was doing everything well up to that point. I think he's got to move off the, online-y, snarky banter, a little bit. Let his people do that more. But I think when you go to Davos, they want to hear you talk about serious stuff. They want to hear you talk about economic stuff.
Right.
And, he decided to basically continue his online stuff, in Davos. And that's not really like, I would have liked to hear him talk more about foreign policy over there. I thought that he needed to sort of establish him. I think that was the take from a lot of Europeans too, which was like, we really wanted to get our first look at Gavin. We wanted to hear what he had to say. And they were hoping to hear a lot of like serious, stuff about Ukraine, heavy substance stuff. And instead they got like own the MAGA stuff. So I think that my opinion of Gavin is, yes, he's the front runner, but I think that he's got to sort of find that sweet spot between, being a little bit of trolling Trump, but at the same time, being substantive as well.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think maybe it was the wrong platform or wrong place. Yeah. I agree with you to do that. I mean, do it in other aspects, but in that certain situation, you have to have serious Gavin Newsom there and stop, clowning Donald Trump, at least in that aspect. I completely agree with you. So, Ron, before I let you go, love your Substack. Great write-up last night. What do you got working on today?
Yeah, last night was, so probably my two lead things are all the negotiations that are going on in Congress over the shutdown, over this DHS, the negotiations, with the Trump administration and with Republicans in Congress, what Democrats are holding out for, what they're looking to get in a deal. This is a mess. I think we're headed towards another shutdown over this issue, and last time was over healthcare. This time it's going to be over ICE. And this one could be really ugly. So from what I've read, the Trump administration is looking to make a deal any way they can, because this is like the worst, because this was going to pass easily. This funding bill was going to pass easily. It passed the House. 7 Democrats voted for it. And I think all 7 have now taken it back and said they regret voting for it. In the Senate, they're only going to have one. They needed 60 votes, but the only Democrat who's going to vote for it is Fetterman. So we're headed to a shutdown. That's going to be a mess. That's number one. And then number two, I'm doing a bunch of stuff from around the world about showing how all these countries are making trade deals with each other: China, India, Canada, Europe, all these countries that hadn't had free trade agreements for decades. And they all say the same thing. Trump was the one who got us to do this. We realized that the United States was no longer a reliable trading partner. So we went and made a deal with Argentina or China or Brazil or Europe. All these countries are doing this now, and we are isolating ourselves while everybody else is making deals. And, just some quotes from the different people around the world about that.
Yeah, well, Donald Trump will try to get credit for that and try to turn it into a positive, him and Lutnick and everybody else, right? It's not make America great again. It's make everybody else great again but us. That's really what this is going on, at least with these tariffs are concerned. Ron, always appreciate the time, my friend. Look forward to reading that amazing Substack you got going, my friend, and we'll catch up with you soon.
All right, man. See you later.
Thanks, Ron. There you go, everybody. That's Ron Filipkowski from Midas Touch. Probably, in my personal opinion, the best Substack in the business, one of the best in the business, period. That is for sure. So we always appreciate it when Ron takes the time to join us. So we have some incredible audio that we are going to be playing for you next. We're going to take a quick 90-second break. And when we come back, first of all, we got to clown Melania Trump, right? We got to clown her and her book and her new movie that nobody's going to be seeing. So we're going to be getting to some audio from good old contractual wife Melania when we come back. And you're not going to believe, or maybe you will, I don't know, what McLaughlin, the DHS spokesperson, is now saying about Preddy and the fact that she won't call out those in the administration that have called Preddy a domestic terrorist. We have that audio for you as well as a very popular NBA basketball coach that has been very outspoken recently, including last night, on what has been going on in Minnesota. We will get to that when we come back. And of course, we will be opening up the phone lines soon as well. I know we didn't have a lot of time to take calls yesterday. I promise you I'm going to give you guys more time to talk today. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back in 90 seconds. You're listening to Pushing the Limits right here on KSA. All right, welcome back. It is Pushing the Limits on a Tuesday. Thank you so much for joining us. It's funny, in between breaks, getting into a battle with General Flynn's son, Michael Flynn Jr., another right-wing scumbag, an absolute Trump mushroom gobbler, and I didn't have time to respond to his tweet. I will after the program. But it is incredible how stupid and insane and reckless some of these people on the right are, including Michael Flynn, including his son, including Megyn Kelly and others, and we'll be certainly will be getting to that. But I want to let you guys know, unless you've been living under a rock, yes, the Super Bowl is set to go here in less than 2 weeks, and what better time to be betting on professional football or anything for that other than now? Well, lucky enough to be teamed up with the good people at mybookie.ag. So kick back and hop on MyBookie with me and just use the code LIMITS. We'll toss in a few bets in, and who knows, maybe we sneak a win or two in there. And yes, what we're doing with this is that if you lose a bet up to $500, you will get a free bet that equals the amount that you lost, which is pretty damn cool. So you go to mybookie.ag and use the code LIMITS. The easiest way is to go to my Facebook page, the Pushing the Limits Facebook page. We just passed 71,000 subscribers. We're gaining like 1,000 subscribers a day. You go there, you'll see the link to mybookie.ag, and you'll be able to use the code LIMITS, and you will get that free bet and much, much more. Please check them out, mybookie.ag. Tell them I sent you. Use the promo code LIMITS. So, as you just heard, as you may know, Melania Trump is not on a book tour. She's on a movie tour because she so desperately wants this documentary on her to do so well. And Jeff Bezos has put in all this money and pumped in all this money and paid her $40 million. It's going to tank. Nobody cares about Melania Trump. But it is funny when she does some interviews now and then because she sounds like a complete imbecile that she is. Now here's Melania Trump making a very strong statement about what is going on in Minneapolis, even though she had no comment about the violence from some of these federal agents. Listen to this.
And they're working together to make it peaceful and without riots. I'm against the violence, so if we protest in peace.
You dumb bimbo. Notice how she's talking about only violence when it comes to protesters. Doesn't mention at all the violence coming from federal agents because she's an idiot. She's an imbecile that's in a contractual marriage. She's like really nothing better than that. She comes to this country, takes her clothes off, poses naked. I'm sure she married Donald Trump for his lavish good looks. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure it had nothing to do with money. But if this doesn't scare you, I don't know what will. We hear a lot of people on Capitol Hill, oh, I can't believe this person's a policymaker. I can't believe that person's a policymaker. Well, here's Melania Trump saying she's working on legislation.
And what is it like being in the White House for the second term? Compare that to the first term, because this is the beginning of moving back into the house you lived in 4 years prior.
As I said, I'm very action-oriented, and we had a great success the first year. So many, as you just mentioned, Take a Down Act legislation. It was bipartisan. Was a big success. It was written into a law. I'm working on another legislation right now. I have Fostering the Future and so many other points that you mentioned, $25 million to HUD for fostering the future children. So many different things that people can go on my website and read it.
Madam First Lady, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you. I'll definitely be going to your website.
Thank you so much.
You're
yeah,
welcome.
thank you. Thank you. I'll definitely be going to your website. I'll definitely be checking that out. Are you kidding me? I want to vomit. I think I'd rather put my genitals through a meat grinder than to have to go to Melania Trump's website and listen to what legislation she wants. Yeah, okay, like the legislation about cyberbullying, when your own scumbag husband cyberbullies people every single day. You dumb nitwit. You dumb bimbo, you. What a disgrace of a first lady. Doesn't even live in the White House because she doesn't want to be anywhere near her contractual husband. You scum. Melania Trump is just as bad as her liable, sexual abusing 34-count felon, orange turd husband. She's just as bad. She is a disgrace. Now, here's her talking about her stupid film, and she maybe is not even aware that the East Wing of the White House, because of her husband, has already been bulldozed. Maybe she's uneducated because she doesn't spend a lot of time in the White House. So maybe she doesn't know that. Have a listen to this.
You released that right here on Fox and Friends First recently. What can we expect? And why was this important to you? Because you're a very private person in many aspects.
This story was never told before. So the audience will see me, how I manage my business, my philanthropy, family, preparation for the inauguration, and also establishing the East Wing for the White House. how I managed all of that in 20 days prior to the inauguration. Transition from private citizen to being a first lady again.
Your businesses? How I take care of my businesses. What are you talking about? Selling your stupid Christmas ornaments? You dummy. Selling all of your crap on your website that nobody wants, made in China? Your philanthropy? Yeah, let's take a look at that. I'd love to take a look at that. She actually has the gall to bring up immigrants when her contractual husband has been going after minorities and people like her since he got into office, and she has the gall to talk about her philanthropy and how she's helping people when her stupid criminal husband has given the biggest tax breaks to the top 1% in this country. Yeah, go ahead and sell those stupid Christmas ornaments of yours. You bimbo, you worthless bimbo piece of human garbage, Melania Trump. You're despicable is what you are. That's what you are. You're despicable. And we know why you're not in the White House. We know why you're not sleeping in the same bed as Donald Trump. I don't blame you for that. We know why you're nowhere near Donald Trump. We know. Because you can't stand the man just like nobody else can that has ever been close to him. But what type of credibility do you have because you allowed Donald Trump to lie on top of you when you conceived Barron? So you have zero credibility. Melania Trump is just as bad as Donnie. They are two of the same, even though they both probably, I would assume, hate each other. They are two of the same. Melania cared more about building tennis courts in the White House and a different toilet because she didn't want to sit on the same toilet as Michelle Obama. She cared more about the tiles in the White House in certain rooms than she cared about what was going on January 6th. Because we know that Stephanie Grisham begged her to put out a statement to stop the violence, and she refused. Because she is despicable. That's what she cares, and that's what she will be known for. Building tennis courts at the White House and a new toilet seat to sit on was more important to her than any of the real issues going on in this country and all over the world. Let me be very clear. Melania Trump is not a philanthropist, and if you want a documentary on Melania, I'll give it to you right now so you won't have to see the movie. You want to know the truth about Melania Trump? She comes into this country, she takes her clothes off as a model, she decides to marry Donald Trump because he has a lot of money, and that's all she's cared about her entire life is money. That's it. She is a contractually married wife, and that is all she should be known for. Money. That's all she's ever cared about. She's never done any good for anybody as far as I'm concerned, and she is probably the biggest embarrassment and the most disgraced first lady that we've ever had in the history of this country. Then we move on to Fox News. And the DHS spokesperson, McLaughlin, is pressed on Fox News, believe it or not, on whether it's appropriate to call this guy Preddy a domestic terrorist. And by the way, Kristi Noem called her a domestic terrorist. And by the way, Stephen Miller called him an assassin. Absolutely despicable. And notice how these people won't directly answer when they're pressed on this. Caroline Leavitt wouldn't talk about it yesterday. She refused to answer the question. And now McLaughlin won't answer or respond to it either.
Okay, I do want to play one thing that happened on Saturday. This is at FEMA at a press conference there. Watch.
The White House has labeled the man who was killed in Minnesota as a domestic terrorist. Is that something you agree with? And have you seen any evidence to back up that claim?
When you perpetuate violence against a government because of ideological reasons and for reasons to resist and perpetuate violence, that is the definition of domestic terrorism. This individual who came with weapons and ammunition to stop a law enforcement operation of federal law enforcement officers committed an act of domestic terrorism. That's the facts.
Tricia, is the department and the secretary pulling back that label of domestic terrorist from the Alex Preddy situation?
Data, in this situation, we have seen on the ground in Minneapolis a highly coordinated campaign of violence against our law enforcement. Your viewers have seen the images. And in this case, we saw an individual who he was armed. He got into a physical altercation with law enforcement. He was in the course of obstructing a federal operation, which is a federal crime. The Department of Homeland Security, we work every day to make sure we're giving the American people swift, accurate information, and so we'll continue to do that as facts are emerging, as things are evolving.
Then are you standing by calling him a domestic terrorist?
Well, we'll let this investigation that Homeland Security investigators are leading, the FBI is supporting, and CBP is doing a separate internal investigation as well, Dana.
Okay, so I guess it stands.
Yeah, I guess it does. I guess it does stand, doesn't it? You despicable human being. How dare you? And how dare anybody call this man who was murdered an assassin, a terrorist? Same thing with Miss Good. How dare you? And they don't walk it back. At a minimum, you say, hey, you know what? I rushed to judgment. I shouldn't have made those statements. Let the full investigation find out what really happened, and my thoughts are to him and his family. No, nothing like that, because they have no moral compass. That's why. That's exactly why. This is what they do. Stephen Miller, Kristi Noem, who, by the way, is on the outs. I think Kristi Noem is probably the favorite to probably step down. But I told you this from the beginning. When you have a bunch of incompetent people that are not trained properly, or when you have, when it comes to ICE agents, and when you have a bunch of people that don't have the credentials to be put in these types of situations, this is what happens. Caroline Leavitt wouldn't answer that question directly. Clearly McLaughlin won't answer that question directly. And they will never walk back the statements of Kristi Noem calling him a terrorist, or of Stephen Miller calling him an assassin, which is a joke. He never brandished the weapon that he had on him. And if he was an assassin, then he would have assassinated somebody or attempted to do so. No, he's not an assassin. The people who executed him, those Border Patrol agents, are assassins. Jonathan Ross is an assassin. That's what an assassin looks like. But I'll tell you one thing. That's a true patriot, and that's a true hero, because Mr. Preddy risked everything, and he lost everything because he cared about total strangers. No, he didn't assault a police officer. He didn't assault a Border Patrol agent. He wasn't impeding an investigation. He was simply concerned for a woman that was just pushed to the ground. He tried to help her up, which any normal, decent human being would do. And the fact that he had a gun in his person is completely irrelevant to this conversation, because he never brandished it. There's no evidence that he ever reached for it. And he was shot, murdered, and killed when he didn't even have a weapon on him, and he was on the ground. And they shot and killed him. They are the assassins. Make no mistake about it. Not Mr. Preddy, who will be thought of by any decent, normal human being as a patriot and as a hero. The people who beat police officers on January 6th were thugs. Those were terrorists. Those were assassins. Preddy will always go down, and so will Miss Good, by the way, as patriots and heroes who cared more about fellow human beings that they didn't even know. They put themselves in danger to help others. That is what a hero looks like. And Mr. Preddy will always be known, in my eyes, as a hero and a patriot, and somebody that we can always look up to. So I have a lot of respect for former NBA player, former NBA champion, and current coach of the Golden State Warriors, Steve Kerr. I've had a few interviews with him, and Steve Kerr, to me, seems like an extremely compassionate human being. He lost his father to gun violence. I talked to him about that after the October 1 shooting here in Las Vegas. I interviewed him, and I talked to him about that, and he got very emotional, and it was really nice to speak with him and talk to him, but very intelligent, very compassionate person, and I have a lot of respect for him. So they had a road trip, and the Golden State Warriors played the Minnesota Timberwolves, and they spent the last several days in Minnesota when all this stuff was going on. So Steve Kerr was asked last night, how are you going to remember this trip in Minneapolis? And here was his response to it.
Kind of beyond the game, how will you remember this trip to Minneapolis?
Yeah, it was pretty crazy to be here for 4 straight days during this, during all these events, to witness everything firsthand. It was meaningful. It was very sad, but I'm glad we were here. I'm glad we were able to, see the people here in Minneapolis, and try to help them forget by playing a couple of basketball games. But it's obviously going to take a lot more than that. But it's a very resilient city, and It's a really tough situation. It's sad being here. Last night was a really somber atmosphere. I thought tonight was better, and felt like fans were more into it, more enjoyable, in terms of just taking in the game. But definitely a tough few days.
So I love hearing from people like Steve Kerr, who obviously I have a ton of respect for. I think he's a good, decent man, and he has a moral compass. But at the same time, you hear it in his voice. That's what true compassion sounds like. And then every time you hear Donald Trump talk about something after a terrible tragedy, the man has no moral compass to begin with. He struggles even after his alleged friend Charlie Kirk was assassinated. How you holding up, Mr. President? How you holding up? Oh, I'm fine. Let's talk about this ballroom. I mean, the guy is just, I'm not telling you guys anything you don't already know. It's insanity. I do want to open up the phone lines, though. And the number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation is 702-221-7283. And again, that number, 702-221-7283 is the number to call if you would like to be a part of the conversation. A lot that we have been discussing today thus far in the program. Obviously, we had Ron Filipowski joining us in the first segment, and certainly a lot that we went over with him. And I just don't seem to understand, and I'm being serious here, how anybody could see this video involving Alex Preddy and think for a moment that was self-defense. Think for a moment that officers or these Border Patrol agents were in there. And by the way, why are there Border Patrol agents in Minneapolis 1,500 miles away from the border? Can somebody please help me understand that? Why are Border Patrol agents not supporting, or I should say, defending the border? Why are they in Minneapolis? Again, 1,500 miles away from the border. Why? Number to call again if you want to be a part of the conversation. 702-221-SAVE. 702-221-7283. All right, let's get to those phone calls now, if I may. Again, 702-221-SAVE is the number to call if you would like to be a part of the program. All right, Numchuck, who are we going to first here? Let's go with Brandon. Brandon is first up on PTL. I believe we've just lost Brandon. Let's go to Dave. Dave is up next on PTL. Hello, Dave.
Hey, what's up, Brian? How you doing?
Good. What's on your mind?
What's going on? All right, can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I got this meta thing in my ear. Hold on. Okay, trying to make it louder. Can you hear me? Good.
Yes, loud and clear. Go right ahead.
All right. So here's what I don't want to, I don't want to get into all your callers. We already know that Trump is name calling and all this other crap. Let's just stop the calling here. Something that you did not think about that will open your eyes and everybody else. I bet you those 1,500 people that he pardoned are some of the people that got out of jail that got hired for ICE.
Oh, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
I've been saying that. I've already
Have
said
you ever
that.
thought of that?
I've already said that on the show. I've already talked about that. Yeah.
Right. And, and the point that I want to make additional to that, I want people to think about this. The next president, when we go to the midterms, I'm saying, hopefully, I'm praying to God that we do have this midterms, that we take the House and the Senate, and then we take the White House. And all these Rubio, all these idiots that kissed his butt from here on out, you better run. You better not go out of the state, because when the next president finds out that all these people that you did what you did to this country, we're coming after your ass, and we're going to bring it back to this country, and we are going to try you as a criminal, just like a war criminal, just like everybody else. And the only person that will get off is this president. And by the way, when he's out of office, he cannot pardon you once he's out of office. So that means you are scot-free to be convicted. And once we convict you, we're going to bring it back to this country, and we're going to throw your ass in jail, just like we did to the people that.
Amen, brother. I'm with you. I'm with you.
Just want to let you know.
I'm with you 150% on that. Amen, brother. And by the way, like I said, I've talked about this on the show that I believe some of those. Listen, Enrique Tarrio apparently is an ICE officer. He was sentenced, charged, and sentenced, convicted, found guilty of seditious conspiracy. So you're absolutely right. I've talked about that. I think there's are really bad people and some thugs that are out there on the streets, dressed up in ICE outfits. I completely agree with you 150%. I've talked about that a lot. 702-221-7283. Let's now go to Brandon. Brandon is next on PTL. Hey, Brandon, what's up?
Hey, Brian, how are you?
Good. What's on your mind?
Oh, man, all this stuff that's going on in Minneapolis, it's just so unfortunate. But the thing that's overlooked is that a lot of this stuff would not be happening if these protesters would not be interfering with ICE operations. That's just the main thing. I mean, it's just like you get caught up in protesting and you try to interfere and you get in the way. It's like FAFO, now
Okay,
they're finding out, sadly.
Okay, but Brandon, explain to me how this guy Preddy interfered with an investigation.
Well, because they insert themselves into the middle of it. They should stand off to the side. They can protest, they can blow their whistles, they can do whatever.
Hold on. Who approached who? Did Preddy approach the Border Patrol agents, or did they approach him?
Well, he was in there. He got jammed up in the middle of the thing trying to help that girl out when he should have just stayed away from it.
Okay, so helping somebody up, I'm not going to criticize somebody. It is a normal human reaction, especially in this case, if a woman is pushed to the ground to help her up. I think most reasonable people would not consider that being getting in the way of some sort of investigation. It is a normal human element. Seconds after he tried to help this woman up, he was pepper sprayed, pushed to the ground, beaten by officers, and then shot and killed. So I would hope that you wouldn't blame Preddy for what took place, because to my knowledge, he wasn't breaking any laws, and it appears to me that he was murdered. Would you agree with that statement?
Well, I have to take a closer look at the video. He shouldn't have been interfering with the agents.
How did he? All you've said is that he helped a woman up. By no standards in law enforcement would they claim that you're interfering in an investigation by helping somebody off the ground. Taking out your video as your cell phone and recording is also not interfering. We have a First Amendment right to peacefully protest. So I'm asking you again, I'm wondering why your initial reaction is you're not ready to defend him. I'm asking you, you keep saying he was interfering. Can you please articulate to me what he was doing by interfering? Brandon, I'm trying to be fair. I think that's a fair question to ask, right, Brandon?
Well, you see all these protests, and you see videos of the tear gassing and agents roughing up protesters.
I'm not talking about other situations. I'm happy to have that conversation with you, but right now let's try to focus on Preddy, because I find this problematic. You're entitled to your opinion, but you said that he interfered. It's also the narrative of people on the far right. He interfered, and I'm trying to get you to please articulate why you believe he interfered. All you've said is he helped a woman up off the ground, which is laughable if you think that's interfering in an investigation. So I ask you again, if you don't have any evidence, then tell me, and then we can start the conversation again over. But how did he interfere?
Well, because he was with another protester who was initially interfering with ICE operations, trying to follow them around and get in the way.
Following somebody,
standing off to the side.
Following an ICE officer or a Border Patrol agent officer is also not against the law. When you use
right, you can do that,
okay,
but don't interfere.
Okay, but interfering in an investigation is against the law. It's a felony.
Absolutely.
Okay, so articulate what he did. You still haven't told me, Brad. I'm trying to be calm here. What did he do to interfere in the investigation? All you said was he helped a woman up, and you allege that somebody else was following them. He
started fighting with the cops.
No, he did not. Who got physical first, Preddy or the officers?
He was egging them on.
No. Okay, define egging them on. What did he do that broke the law? Tell me.
He was going at the officers.
What do you add? We just established that the officers
hold on.
Let's focus on Preddy. Hold on. Let's focus on Preddy. You just said that he was, quote, going at the officers. Not factually accurate. In fact, the officers are the ones that went at him. You just said that he assaulted officers. Also not true. They pepper sprayed him. They pushed him to the ground. He had his arms.
He was going for his holster.
No, he wasn't. That is a lie. Where did you get that from? Where did you get the information? You're not going to spread misinformation on this show, especially from somebody that was murdered. Where did you get the
I read it somewhere.
You read it somewhere. Oh, great. You read. Good. I read you're a pedophile somewhere. Does that mean you're a pedophile? Where did you get the information that he reached for his holster? Not only is that not true, but it's defamation of a guy that was murdered. Are you going to apologize for what you just said? Nowhere is there any evidence in any camera angle that he brandished his weapon or reached for it. You are either lying or severely misinformed. Are you going to retract what you just said?
No, I'm not.
No, you're not. Okay,
fine.
You're not going to retract it. Then I'm not going to retract what I said. I read an article that Brandon molested children. I read an article that both of your parents rape children. What do you think about that, Brandon? Does that make you happy? Are your parents still alive right now? Brandon, are your parents still alive right now? Answer the damn question.
Yes, they are.
Okay. Well,
Bumblebee.
Okay, good. Don't call me Bumblebee. You lied.
That's what you look like.
You lied. And you're an imbecile because you sound like it and you look like it. You're an imbecile. Now, I ask you again, because you're being exposed right now for being the liar that you are. Where did you get the information that Mr. Preddy reached for his weapon? Give me the answer right now.
I read it on the Gateway Pundit.
Oh, you really? So you read somewhere on the Gateway Pundit that he reached for his weapon. We all saw the video. We all saw the camera angles. Nowhere in any of those. Brandon, did you see all the angles? Did you see all the video?
I did.
Okay, in all those videos,
and it's very hard to see, but they must have had a good reason to shoot him.
Yeah, they must have, right, Brandon? They must have.
Come on,
Brandon.
Did
you see?
Probably an officer just shoots someone 10 times without cause.
Oh yeah, you're right, because officers never break the law. Yeah, okay, let's go with that stupid narrative.
Most of them don't,
Brandon. Yeah, you're right. Most of them don't, but some of them do. Dummy. Now pay attention.
Tragic.
Pay attention. I'll be quiet. I don't want to hear you talk about tragic when you lie about the guy who was killed. You saw all the videos. In those videos, did you ever see him reach for the gun?
Well, according to this one article,
in your videos, that wasn't. I didn't ask you about some stupid article. In all the videos that you saw, did you see
the body cam?
Did you? I didn't ask you about the body cam. I didn't ask you about the article. Please pay attention. In all the videos that you saw, did you see him reach for anything?
Well, the other agents are blocking his view.
Okay, so the answer. All right, so the answer is no. The answer is no. Brandon, did you see one of those?
I didn't say no.
Brandon, did you see one of those officers take a weapon away? Did you see him walk away? Did you see that video? As I saw.
Yeah, I saw that.
You did. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Did he? Did he have another weapon on him, Brandon?
He was going for his waistband or
Brandon,
something.
he did not go. Brandon, I need you to focus. We've established that's
not
true.
Suicide by cop at this point.
Brandon, did he have a weapon on him when he was shot and killed? Is there any evidence?
He could have had another weapon.
Brandon,
they don't know that.
Brandon, I need you to focus. I didn't ask
Bumblebee, come on.
Pot him down. Brandon, I didn't ask you if he could have had a weapon. I asked you if he did. So I'm going to ask you one more time. Number one, he did not reach for a weapon. He did not brandish a weapon. I'm now asking you for a second and third time. Did he have a second weapon on him? Answer it, yes or no.
I'm not aware. I'm not aware.
Well, we finally agree on something. You're not aware of a lot of things. Okay, so Brandon, the answer is no. They have not said that he had another weapon on him, meaning he was shot and killed without a weapon on his person. So please explain to me how you can defend this man lying on the ground without a weapon on him, being shot 4 times in the chest, once in the shoulder, once in the neck. How can you defend that if he was unarmed, Brandon? Please answer the question.
It's terrible. I mean, if he's unarmed and they shot him like that, it's terrible.
Exactly.
But they must have had.
They must have had.
So it's not. I mean,
so it's not possible that maybe they didn't have self-cause, as you would say. That's not possible.
They didn't just mow him down randomly.
Okay, so what happened then?
Put him down.
So if you shoot an unarmed person, what would be their excuse for shooting him 5 or 6 times? What would be a plausible excuse?
You better have a damn good reason to articulate.
And what's the reason?
And what's the reason?
And what's the reason? Tell me, if he was unarmed, what's the reason?
I got to see all the videos.
You got to see all the videos. I thought you said. Said you saw all the videos. Were you lying to me?
I read an article.
You read an article and you didn't see all the shootings. So you read an article. So you read an article on the Gateway Pundit. You didn't see all the videos, but you seem to know exactly what happened. Brandon, get the hell out of here, man. You're just not smart enough to have a conversation with me. You're an idiot. He did not reach for his waistband. He never brandished the weapon. He was unarmed when he was shot and killed. And everything you say is, well, they must have had a reason. You're an imbecile. The difference between you and me, Brandon, is you always believe our government, and you always believe that every single time an officer does something, they must be 100% in the right. Well, guess what, Brandon? I'm not naive, and I'm not a doofus like you, and I have two of my own eyes. And guess what? Unlike you, you lied to me earlier in this call. You said you saw all the videos. Then you said you didn't. Well, guess what? I did. I saw the video. I saw the videos. I've seen every angle. I've watched it hundreds of times. And it's clear as day to me what happened. This guy was recording with his cell phone, wasn't breaking the law. He wasn't interfering in an investigation. He had one hand out like this. He had another hand that was recording. A woman was pushed to the ground. Those Border Patrol agents addressed him. He tried to help a woman up, which is, I think, a normal thing to do for any human being. The officer, the Border Patrol agent, immediately pepper sprays him. He falls to the ground, and they immediately beat him. They're kicking him in the head. They're punching him in the head. He is putting his hands and his arms over his body to protect himself. And in those moments, they find that he has a gun on him, which he did not brandish. They yell, gun, gun, gun. Seconds later, an officer takes the gun and leaves that immediate area. You see the video of this happening. And then a couple seconds later, an unarmed man is shot and killed. That is why I call it murder. Let's see those body cameras, but I bet you they won't see the light of day. You won't see him reach for a weapon, and there will be no defense for these ICE or some of these Border Patrol agent officers who ended this man's life, and that's why it's murder. If you think that there must be a legitimate reason for why they shot and killed this man, then you are an imbecile. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go to Charles. Charles is next up on PTL. What's up, Charles?
Hello.
Charles, are you there?
Hello?
Yeah, Charles, go right ahead.
Yeah, I just listened to the commentary, and I find it interesting. But let me start out by saying I did not see all the videos because I don't know how many videos are actually out there. I saw the ones reported on the news, which are similar. I haven't seen the cam videos yet. I saw the cop with a gun in his hand, but it's unclear whether it's his gun or the victim's gun. I'm also aware, or have been made aware by reports, that he was a known protester, attended many protesters.
Which is completely irrelevant. Which is irrelevant.
Hold on. Yeah, no, it is relevant.
No, it's not.
You said he didn't break any laws.
No, it's not. Excuse me.
He's armed.
Excuse me.
He's armed.
Being armed.
Excuse
me. Being armed legally, he was not breaking the law. Being armed. That's
yes, he
was. So
did
really,
he have his license on him?
Okay, so you know what that is, sir? If in fact that's
did he have his license on him?
Excuse me, sir. Let me respond. That is a $25 fine and a misdemeanor. It doesn't mean that
against the law.
Okay. So if you want to get into the weeds with me on something that is
against the law to attend a protest with a gun.
No, it's not. What the hell are you what law?
Minnesota
what
law.
Statute? Okay.
Minnesota law.
Oh, really? Oh, really? So
Minnesota law.
Okay, stop talking for a moment. Okay. If we're going to have a conversation, it's going to be a two-way conversation. Let's not talk over each other. Let's have a conversation. What statute does it say that you can't go to a protest with a weapon on your person if you legally are allowed to carry? What statute is that, sir?
It's a Minnesota statute.
Okay. So what is it? Can you articulate?
Tell me which statute says it can't. I mean, you always do that,
sir. Hold on, I'll answer you. You asked me a question. You asked me a question. Let me answer your question. There is no, sir.
Stop talking over me.
No, you stop talking over me. It's my show and not yours. You asked me a question. When you ask somebody a question, you give them the right to answer it, and you don't talk over them. So shut up. There is no statute for things that are legal. You just said, what's the statute, dumbass? You are legally allowed to carry when you were at a protest. You asked me what the statute is. There is no statute. Now I'm going to read you an overview right now, dummy, and try to educate you, okay? This is simple. You can just Google this, dummy, and I hope you're still there because I didn't hang up on you. I'm going to read it for you now, okay, sir? In Minnesota, it is legal for individuals with a valid permit to possess firearms, open or concealed, at public protest, and there is no specific state statute prohibiting it. You can Google that. So why don't you admit that you're wrong right now, and then we can continue the conversation. Go ahead, Charles.
Because I haven't confirmed that I am wrong.
So are you on your phone right now? Are you on your phone right now?
I
Charles?
am.
Okay, Charles, let's do this together. This is very exciting.
No,
So,
that's
Charles,
fine.
here's what I want you to do.
Let's go. I
Charles,
mean, you'll beat it.
Charles, you said you haven't looked it up. I'd like you to Google on your phone right now. It'll take 10 seconds. Is it legal to carry a firearm at a protest in Minnesota?
I don't have an iPhone.
Okay,
I
any
don't
phone.
have an
Any
iPhone.
phone. You don't have internet on your phone, Charles? Maybe that would
No.
explain why you're so ill-informed. Charles, go on your phone and
No,
Google it.
I have an iPad, but I'm out in my car right now.
So you're on a phone, right, Charles? Are you not on a phone? You don't have internet?
Didn't I just say that?
There is no Minnesota statute that forbids carrying firearms at protests or demonstrations. Are you going to admit you're wrong, Charles?
Well, not until I confirm. Well,
Not
if I
until you confirm it. Well, so you don't know how to
I'll call
Google?
you back tomorrow.
All right. Yeah, I look forward to that. So, Charles,
If I can confirm
So, Charles, you're wrong. Okay. Now we're going to move on. Okay. It's not my fault that you don't even know how to Google.
Here's what I'd
Charles,
like to say.
no, here's what
About
I'd
the
like to
next
say.
comment.
Here's what I'd like to say. I'm not hanging up on you, Charles. You just brought up his past. By the way, the guy's never been arrested for a crime in his life, you dope. Why are you going to talk about this guy's past? Has he ever been arrested?
I didn't
Does he
say
have a
was-
criminal record?
I didn't say that.
Okay, so what was he doing that was against the law? You just said he was carrying a firearm. I just proved that you have no idea what you're talking about. So move
Well,
on.
he was carrying a firearm.
Yeah, right. I know that, dummy. And you just said it was against the law. And I just proved you wrong. You're allowed to be at a
Well, you
protest
didn't
with a
prove me wrong.
firearm.
Yeah,
Yes, I
and
did.
you keep saying
You're
it.
just an imbecile. Yes, I did. What was he doing that was against the law? Go ahead, Charles. What was he doing? Go
Well,
ahead.
I told you that also. He shows up.
He shows up. That's not against the law.
Without the license, without his license.
Which is a
on him.
20,
And
which
that's-
is
that's
okay.
against-
All right.
that's
Okay. So
against
Charles.
carry.
Okay. So Charles, let's try to let's just say that's correct. He was committing a misdemeanor.
correct.
Okay, Charles, stop talking. Let's just say, for argument's sake, it's a $25 fine and a misdemeanor. Does that mean he deserved to be shot and killed?
Are you saying that? I don't know that.
Sir. Does that mean he deserved to die?
No.
Okay. So what else was he
course
doing
not.
wrong? Okay. So let's just say, hypothetically speaking.
Of course not.
Okay.
But
All right.
he
Thank you,
went
Charles.
and
All right.
Well, you're
How did he
asking me.
obstruct? How did he obstruct? What did he do?
Well, he went up to.
No, he didn't.
law
No, he didn't.
enforcement when
Wrong.
they were in- when
Wrong.
they were in
Pot
the-
him down. You're wrong with the first words out of your stupid mouth. He did not go up to law enforcement. If you watch the videos, law enforcement went up to him. So go ahead, Charles. You're wrong on that one again. You're
What did he
0-2.
say when he came?
Go
up?
ahead.
What did he say? What did he say when he walked up to him?
He told the woman, "Are you okay?" Saying something
No,
is
what
not
did he
going.
say to the-
Saying
What
something.
did he say to the ICE officer?
Saying something is not going up to them. You have your First Amendment right to say whatever the hell you want. So that's
Wait a
also
minute.
not against
where,
the law.
Where did you hear that?
In one of the videos of the 4
That he
videos,
said-
"Are you okay?" He said that to the woman.
I heard no. I heard no.
Well,
no audio.
well, you also think that it's illegal to to carry a firearm at a
Well,
protest.
no. What I
So
what
it
I
was-
really believe, Brian.
yeah.
Brian, I'll tell you what I really. Believe.
Oh yeah, I can't wait.
I believe it was. I believe it was suicide by cop.
So suicide by cop. Did he point his weapon or brandish the gun at all?
Don't know. He was on the
You
ground.
don't know. You don't know. Hold on
And
a
he was
second.
covered up
Hold on
by
a second.
officers.
Hold on a second. You don't know. Let me help you out a little bit,
No,
Charles.
because he was covered
Charles,
up by officers. You don't know
Charles,
either.
Charles.
Brian,
a gun,
you don't know
Charles,
either.
Charles, I need you to stop talking now because I'm going to try to educate you. Okay. Charles, they took the firearm away from him. It's seen on video. And then after they shot and killed him, they let him lie and die there for 20 seconds. And then officers went up to him and they tried to find the gun on his person. And you can hear one of the officers say, "Where's the gun? The gun's not here. Where's the gun?" They killed him without having a weapon on him. You see, Charles, suicide by cop is when you point a weapon at officers. Suicide by cop is threatening officers with their lives. At no point in that entire exchange were any of those officers' lives in jeopardy. In fact, it's to the contrary of that. They pepper sprayed him. They pushed him to the ground. Charles, why would you think it was suicide by cop? And what did you see in that video?
And then he resisted arrest.
So resisting
You
arrest.
could see him kicking.
So excuse me. There were 5 or 6 officers on top of him beating him.
That's right.
Okay.
Which means you can't see what was going on.
No, actually, we did see what was going on. He did not assault. He did not assault any officers. So if you say suicide by cop when he's on the ground, when he's on the ground and he's fighting for his life and he's unarmed, how could you possibly make the dumb? What do you mean?
Comply.
All he had to do was comply. So when you're on the ground and you're being kicked and punched, don't you think you're going to try to put your arms and your hands over your face?
Well,
to try
if
to
I was put on the ground, I certainly wouldn't be fighting against 5 armed.
He wasn't fighting, and nothing in the
officers.
video.
I mean, how
nothing
stupid is
in the
that?
video. How stupid are you? Nobody. He wasn't fighting anybody. They approached
He
him.
was fighting.
Okay, then you're an idiot, sir. I don't know what else to tell you. That
Well,
you would
were
defend
the cops
this.
fighting themselves?
You are defending murder. You
wait,
are an
Brian, you
imbecile
said
that
you watched
defends
the video.
murder. I watched all the videos.
course I am.
You're an imbecile that's defending murder. That's
I'm
what
an
you are.
imbecile, idiot,
You're an imbecile
racist.
that defends murder. Yeah, I do think you're a racist too, because you've called into this show before. Yeah, I do. I do. You voted for
Brian,
Donald
without
Trump, didn't
your
you?
insults,
You voted. Pot him down.
without your
You
insults-
voted for Donald Trump, didn't you, sir? You voted for Donald Trump, didn't you? You voted for him, didn't you? You're a Trump supporter. You're a mushroom gobbler, aren't you, sir? And you've said multiple things in this conversation that are not true. Right from the get-go, you started talking about how he went to other protests, which is completely irrelevant to this conversation. Oh, yeah, by the way, so what? He's never been arrested or convicted of a crime in his life. That's why I said it was irrelevant. You're not smart enough to understand that. Then you're ill-informed and you said it's illegal to bring a legal weapon to a protest. You don't know what you're talking about. You're wrong about that. Then you said he went up to the officers. No video shows him going up to the officers. The officers went up to him. You're 0 for 3. You're wrong about that. Then you said he assaulted officers. No, sir. He was pepper sprayed when he had one hand in the air, and then the other hand was recording it with his cell phone. Then he is pushed to the ground. He is kicking. He is kicked, and he is punched while he is on the ground, while every officer is on their feet. How could he assault these officers when he is on the ground, you dumbass? He is on the ground, and they are kicking and punching him, but you say he was assaulting them. And then you say suicide by cop. You don't even know what that word means. In order for it to be suicide by cop, you would have to have him pointing a weapon at the officers or saying something like, go ahead and kill me and shoot me. None of that took place. You're ill-informed and you're an imbecile. That's what you are. You're an imbecile, but you don't like name calling, yet you support the name caller in chief. You are an idiot, sir. That's what you are. So as I pod you back up, I want you to repeat after me. Oh, thank you. Have a nice day. Have a nice day, sir. God forbid something like that happens to you, although we would have one less idiot on the planet, that's for sure. I don't want that to happen to you, sir, but you are a complete imbecile. You don't have no idea what you're talking about. You don't even know the laws in the state of Minnesota. You think that it was suicide by cop. What an imbecile you are. What an imbecile. 702-221-7283 is the number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation. Let's go to Karen. Karen is next up on PTL. Hello, Karen.
Hello.
Hi, Karen.
Hi. I wanted to, that man wanted an explanation for why people can't make it off minimum wage. It's really very simple. 50 years ago, minimum wage was $3.25. In the last 50 years, it's gone up, 150%? But cost of living has gone up 400 to 500%.
Well, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
So how do they expect people to make it? They don't. The rich in this started with Reagan and his trickle-down economics, which has done nothing but drag our country down for the last 50 years. I've watched it, and it's sad.
Well, there's a lot of things going on in this country that are sad right now. I certainly don't disagree with you.
And I want everybody to know that Alex Petty is a hero.
Absolutely.
He took and tried to protect a woman from people that are supposed to be protecting her to begin with. So there is something terribly, terribly wrong, and it should bring tears to this country's eyes.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that because, somebody that I have a lot of respect for, Jimmy Kimmel, was emotional yesterday. I don't know if you watched his monologue, because he's a decent man and a man with a heart, and MAGA are attacking him for getting emotional at these two Americans who were, in my opinion, murdered. Two innocent people that were murdered. And then you have
absolutely,
and then you
there's
have
no question.
but then you have idiots like that last guy who called in who thinks it was murder by suicide from a guy that was on the ground and unarmed, that was being beaten.
He's laying on his stomach.
Yeah, he was shot in
How
the back.
did somebody on his stomach take and hurt anybody?
And not only
You're
that,
in
but when
a position that it makes you defenseless.
Of course, and when you're getting kicked and punched, you're going to do everything you can to try to get them to stop kicking and punching you. Of course, you're going to try to defend yourself. That doesn't mean he was assaulting officers. There are people that are so stupid. They're so ill-informed and so dumb.
And it doesn't take that much to research it.
It doesn't.
To see.
It doesn't. But if you're wearing the blinders and you're an imbecile like that last guy who called in, then you're going to make every excuse. Suicide by cop. I mean, he doesn't even know what that is. As a reporter back in the day, I covered plenty of those cases. When you have somebody
I've seen that before.
Right.
I mean, that's when you go out, you're waving a gun, shooting at them, and you're shooting over their heads because you want them to do it.
That was the opposite of what took place here. He was on the ground.
The man, he put his arms around that woman trying to protect her because they were abusive for no apparent reason that I could see on them.
Yeah, and that's what he's guilty of, caring about a complete stranger. I appreciate your call, my dear. Thank you so much. Obviously, anybody with an IQ over 20 would agree with us, unless you're a Trump mushroom gobbler like Charles. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. Let's go to Rebecca. Rebecca is next on PTL. Hello, Rebecca.
Hi, Brian. If you could just give me 60 seconds. This is for Grandpa Boomer with your flip phone. Okay, I want you to go on your iPad and watch the video from all angles and watch it frame by frame by frame. Alex had a bottle of water and a phone in his hand the entire time he was laying on that woman, protecting her, while they're beating and spraying him with pepper spray and beating his head with the can.
You're right.
I digress.
You're right. And when you're getting beaten and kicked, obviously a human reaction is to try to protect yourself and cover yourself and stop them from kicking and punching. And the fact that anybody
never reached for anything because he had a bottle of water and a cell phone in his hand.
He not only did he never
a cell phone doesn't look like a gun.
Never brandished the weapon. He never brandished the weapon.
No.
He never assaulted any officers. That's also a lie. He never interfered in an investigation.
It's also legal to carry a firearm in Minnesota to a protest. And who's to say he didn't have his permit? Christy Nome?
Yeah, I know.
Am I going to believe that?
Yeah, by the way, that's a
Bovino?
That's a misdemeanor.
Am I going to believe that?
Misdemeanor.
He says he didn't have it. He could have had it.
Misdemeanor, and up to a $25 fine. And that's what this guy is calling about, a $25 fine defending murder. I mean, you can't speak reason to these imbeciles, my dear. I do appreciate your call. Thank you so much. 702-221-7283 is the number to call if you want to be a part of the conversation. Let's go to Jason. Jason is next on PTL. Hello, Jason.
Hey, sir. How are you?
Good.
Okay, so real.
Did we lose Jason? Sorry, Jason. Call back if you can. I'm not sure what happened with our phone lines there. That does seem to happen here from time to time. That's okay, Jason. Call back. 702-221-7283, the number to call if you want to be a part of the show. Uncle Fatty? Is that a real name? Uncle Fatty is next. Hello, Uncle Fatty.
Brother, how you doing?
What's up?
You are the first one. I'm telling you. No joke, bro. You are the first one that I've heard say on the air, shot in the back.
He was.
Shot in the back.
Yep.
Shot in the back. Every time we have to be emphasizing he was shot in the back.
Let me clarify. Thank you for pointing that out. Yes, it's important. The first shot,
one, Brian.
Right. That's what I was just going to say. You took the words right out of my mouth. The first shot into this guy was in the back. And then as he lay there motionless, they shot him several more times unarmed. He was shot in the back.
Every single shot.
How can you defend an unarmed man being shot in the back and say it's self-defense? How?
Rationalizations and justifications.
Yeah.
This is what happens when cult mentality takes over people. They can rationalize and justify. You went through 9 different things with Charles right there on that phone call.
Mm-hmm.
9 different separate things that he instantly could rationalize and justify as being just fine. It's absolutely ridiculous.
I don't even know. I don't even know how to talk to these people anymore. I just don't know.
I mean,
we're so lost as a country right now. How could we justify this sort of behavior? How?
We can't, but the cult mentality can't. The cult mind can't. It's, hey, look, you've dealt with addiction. You dealt with addicts. It's the same exact thing. It's denial. It's rationalize and justify. It's victim mentality, right? It's delusions of grandeur. It's deflect and redirect.
I mean, to me, this is even more
the narrative.
This is even more egregious to me than even the Renee Good shooting, which I thought was also murder. This is even worse than that. I mean, you shot an unarmed man, right? Unarmed man. They took the gun from him. What was he doing there other than recording, as the last caller said, with a water bottle and trying to help a woman off the ground? And you're saying this guy was a threat to these officers' lives? How can anybody watch that video and defend it? How can anybody? I just don't understand it. What world are we living in?
I don't get it. He was directing traffic. He was directing traffic is the new one, right? No, he was walking across the street and waved a car in front of him and continued walking and turned around. Okay, you've watched all of them. I know you have because you said you did, man.
Yes, I did.
There's a point of view from the gal who was in the car, right?
Saw
right
that.
there,
Yep.
right where it happened.
Yep.
And it's not very good eye footage, but we have to use more than just our eyes, right? We got to use our ears.
Yeah. Yep.
That's where that video is so crucial. Okay, there's an agent in the middle of the road pushing people around, and you hear his supervisor say, "You don't push them in the middle of the road. You push them like this." And he's the one with the ego trip that comes across the road and starts shoving the 2 ladies, in which case our hero steps in, gets sprayed in the face, turns around, and from that point on, he got sprayed. They tried to spray him in the face from behind 4 separate times.
Yep.
The other weak little agent comes over and sprays the lady right in her face from 6 inches away. She's already she's on the ground. She's just getting up off the ground. He sprays her in the face and pushes her over and turns around, and the guy with the ego trip keeps on tripping.
Why wouldn't you just put the handcuffs? Why don't you just put the handcuffs on her? Why don't you just immediately put the handcuffs on this guy instead of kicking him and punching him? Like, that's the part I really don't understand. Like, it's just insane. It's insane.
It's not about that. It's not about taking in the protesters. It's about, and look, they take enough women in there anyways. They need to get some guys on their books, I'm sure, get some bodies on the books, That's all this is about. It's all bodies and all numbers. This is Gestapo bullshit. And I'm telling you, Chris Goldsmith from Project Butler, the Task Force Butler, had a great take on this. We can defund ICE all we want to. We can defund and we can play these games, but we know what they're going to do. They're going to take money out of another coffer, and they're going to keep this shit funded. They already had $170 billion, you guys, $170 billion budget. That's bigger than the frickin' entire military.
Yeah, well, we got to stop funding ICE. And any Democrat, I'm going to tell you this right now, any Democrat that is okay with adding more funds to any of these agencies, shame on you. Let's vote them out of office. I appreciate the call, my friend. Thank you. Let's go back to Jason. I think we lost him earlier. What's up, Jason?
Okay, first I'd like to say, Charles, you're the 3rd dumbest person I ever heard speak. First is Donald Trump, Melania Trump, and then you moron. That's the first thing I want to say. Second of all, I want to say America's getting attacked by the enemy within. there's an army that's going for American citizens. But I just want America to realize one thing, and whoever's listening, this is what we've been dealing with for our whole lives. We have Tamir Rice, Trayvon Martin, Michael Brown, who died for $1 cigarillo, Breonna Taylor, Amadou Diallo. I could go down the list over and over and over again. So I feel sad because now America's getting a taste that what we've been having for almost 400 years. But more than anything, I got an acronym for ICE from now on. They're infantile Caucasian little babies. Have you seen the YouTube? They got this dumb moron, got his ICE uniform on, talking to these people, telling them, yeah, I'm a high school diploma, but I make $200K. You have no training, you're dumb, but you make 200 grand because this is you're joining Donald Trump's little army. So now America is finally feeling what we've been feeling for 400 years, where when rogue cops shoot somebody and the whole police force stands behind them. Now we got a government that stands behind ICE, and they're allowed to kill any American at any time, unarmed, defenseless, kicking you in the face, stomping you, punching you, and still allowed to shoot you, and have the president, the vice president, the DHS, and all of them stand behind saying, oh, they're free. They did it right. They're innocent. And so, America, this is what you voted for. We try to warn you. We try to warn you about 2025, and you never listen. Now, America, the roosters, the chickens have come home to roost.
Unfortunately, I agree with most of what you said, and it's incredible how people continue to defend this sort of behavior, this Nazi-like behavior. It's sick. Jason, I appreciate you, and I appreciate your call. Thank you. Let's go to William. William is next on PTL. What's up, William?
Nazi-like behavior.
William, on a little bit of a delay here, so lower your radio if you can, William. Go right ahead. William, are you there?
Yes, sir, I am.
Hi, William. Go right ahead. Go ahead, William.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. What's on your mind?
I'm fine. I'm a Democrat.
Okay.
Mr. Freddie's a hero.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad that I live on Earth 1. The tangerine toddler is an evil man. The world has gone to pot. We're becoming Russia, or very similar to it.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be glad when he's gone. And, you know, Republicans are chicken shit on the language when it comes to standing up to Trump. Everybody knows it. I believe that when he comes up at the end of this term, every Republican up and down where you vote in every state and every city are voted out. Of course, that's a pipe dream, but you know how it is.
Unfortunately, I do. Unfortunately, I do, sir. Where do you live? Where do you live, William? Okay. William, I'm having a trouble hearing you. I do appreciate your phone call, my friend. I think I got most of what you said, and I appreciate that. Just a reminder to the callers out there, please watch your language. We are also on the radio on an FM AM dial, so watch the language if you can. Let's go to Bill. Bill is next up on PTL. What's up, Bill?
Hey, man, I just, thanks for taking my call. I just wanted to say, I really appreciate your show. I've been in a real tough scratch about 5 months ago. My brother and best friend, who dedicated his life to government service, took his own life.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry to hear that, Bill. That's horrible.
Yeah, thank you. He served in the Marine Corps, the Border Patrol, and then the State Department, retired out at 25 years. And I don't know what the composition of why he took his own life is, but I know for a fact that the political discourse and ugliness was something he was disgusted by and troubled by on a daily basis. And I don't think enough people are talking about the fallout of what this kind of toxic environment creates. And I'm just very thankful for shows like yours that speak truth to power and that allow people like me to realize we're not in this foxhole alone. And, I think it would have done my brother good to listen to it as well. So I just wanted to tell you that and let people know they're not alone out there and not to succumb to their worst demons because.
And I'm sorry, what was your brother's name?
It's temporary, not forever, hopefully.
What was your brother's name, if you don't mind me asking?
His name was Dan Robron.
Dan. Well, let's dedicate this show to Dan, and I'm so sorry for your loss, sir. And I'm sure your brother was a great man, and I'm sure he was like you. I'm sure he was on the right side of history, and he worked for the government for all the right reasons, I'm sure. And we don't do enough to help people in this country that are mentally ill. And guess what? Or suffering from depression. I'm not even saying your brother was mentally ill. He was obviously, something was irking at him and he needed help. And guess which party is the party that does not want to allocate funds for Medicaid and healthcare and helping those that are suffering from depression? Guess which party doesn't want to help people, sadly, like your brother who took his own life? It's the Republican Party. They don't want to help people like your brother. And sadly, more people in this country are going to take their own lives because they don't have the healthcare that they need and they don't have the professional help that they need. I'm so sick of people on the right that want to talk about mental health when they vote against every government program that could have helped people like your brother.
Well succinct and well said, my friend. You have a wonderful day.
Thank you, sir. And again, I'm sorry for your loss. I'm very sorry to hear that. 702-221-7283. Let's go to Paul. Paul is next on PTL. Hello, Paul.
Oh, hi there, Brian. Thanks for taking the call. Just a couple of things. The first thing on the Melania film front, which I think is quite funny, it's launching in the UK this Friday. And the View Cinema, which is one of our leading cinemas in Islington, they report that she's doubled her sales for the evening performance. That's the good news for Melania. The bad news is the other performance, the midday one, she's only got one sale. So on the launch, she's got 3 seats filled, and I think the surnames all rhyme with Brump. That's just a rumour. So I think that was a really funny story. It's really flopping here. Nobody wants to see the damn woman.
Yeah, what a shocker. Who cares? Like, who can you imagine if like you're an everyday normal person and yeah, hey honey, you want to go on a date tonight? Hey, let's see that new good Melania Trump documentary. Hey honey, you want to see that? Like, you probably get slapped in the face. Like, are you kidding me?
This woman has had nothing to say, nothing to do. It's got no value, no intelligence, no quality. She's the worst first lady probably in 250 years. Yeah. She's got nothing. Who's interested in?
Hey, you want to go see that? You want to go see that new Tom Cruise movie? Nah. You want to go see that new Al Pacino movie or Robert De Niro movie? Nah. What about that Melania Trump documentary, how she got new toilet seats in the White House? That's it.
That's the one.
That's going to put me.
I'm queuing up with the other one person.
That's going to put me on the edge.
I'm going to be in there early. I'm sitting down with popcorn. I can't wait to see Melania get on there and spout her words of wisdom. Just on a serious note, and I think this is something that people aren't seeing, because I stand back 5,000 miles away. I see this. What's happened in reaction to Minnesota is the American people have drawn the line, and Trump has withdrawn. You see, before him and by proxy his people, i.e. ICE, thought they could do anything. But the American people said we've had enough. Now, Stephen Miller, who is the brains behind Donald Trump, he's the Nazi, he thinks he could reenact Germany in the 30s in America. The thing that he missed, Stephen Miller, because he's dumb. These guys are always dumb. Anybody who thinks being cruel is clever is dumb. The thing that Stephen Miller misses is that Germany really was on its knees when Hitler came along and said he was the only one who could fix it. The difference here is America wasn't on its knees under Joe Biden. Trump keeps saying that, which is the only message that makes his message look good. But most of the American people know it wasn't on its knees. And now they've drawn the line. And I think this is the real fall of Trump and Trumpism. I think this marks the fall. We're going to see good stuff coming up from here to the midterms and beyond. That's my belief.
Paul, I certainly hope you're right, my friend, and I really do appreciate your call. Time will tell. But we got to get more people like you living in this country that are able to vote. I appreciate your call, Paul. Let's go to Sebastian. Sebastian is next up on PTL. Hello, Sebastian.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, go ahead, Sebastian.
Okay. First of all, I'm a former firearms instructor. So the thing I'll encourage you to do is look up the Minnesota concealed carry law. He was legal. Okay.
Oh, yeah, I'm aware. Absolutely.
Secondly, what he did was protection of another, which is stated in the self-defense law.
Correct.
Across the nation, no matter what.
Correct.
Okay. What gets me is that Brandon and Charles are idiots. I'm just going to say they're idiots. I got stronger words, but I'm just going to leave it at that. They're
Yeah,
idiots.
I get it. Yeah, they are. Yeah.
Because they don't understand the procedure. So what I would ask you to do, if you want to get into a discussion with these idiots, there's a use of force continuum all over the internet. It follows every police department and everything follows it. I was a former police officer. I know all about it. I was an FTO officer, the whole 9 yards. Look that up and then challenge them with that, because they don't know what the hell they're talking about.
But that's the problem, isn't it? You're an intelligent man. You understand the law. You understand how this stuff works. Any semi-reasonable person sees that video and understands this guy didn't do anything wrong. He wasn't breaking the law. Anybody who sees that video, but that's the problem. When you talk to some of these people in the MAGA cult, they cannot admit they're wrong. They won't admit that anybody under Donald Trump has done anything wrong. You can't have a reasonable conversation with so many of these people. I don't know how you can watch those videos of Renee Good and this gentleman being gunned down and say that it's justified and there's nothing to see here. I don't know how anybody could make that assumption. I don't understand.
I watched all the videos. I slowed them down, blew them up, everything else. Now, here's a curious thing. The weapon that Mr. Preddy had, allegedly was a 6 hour with a optic on it.
Right.
Then they show a weapon that's in a pouch. Now this is available on the internet, and I need you to look that up, because they show two different things. Because number one, if this was an actual investigation, that weapon would have been put into a bag, not a pouch. How would the pouch be there?
That's also very true. And I do find it interesting. Did you see the point where he's dead for like 20 seconds? Preddy's dead. And then you see the officers, they don't check his pulse. They're trying to see how many times he was shot. And then they're looking for a weapon. And one of the officers, you can hear him saying, "Where's his gun? Where's his gun?" Oh, he has it over there. And they're not trying life-saving techniques. They're just trying to count how many times he was shot. And it's almost like some of them are panicking because they're like, "Oh, we just shot an unarmed man."
Well, and the thing is, with his concealed carry, I know as a concealed carry instructor, they said he didn't have any identification. You have to, by law, carry that identification with you every time. Whether you have a weapon in your possession or on your person, period, you still have to carry.
Yeah, and listen, I'm not saying that they're telling the truth, but even if that was the case, as you know, it's only a misdemeanor. It's not a serious crime, and it's only a $25 fine. That doesn't justify, as you know, anybody using deadly force.
I agree. And my problem with it is when you're prone on the ground, you can't reach a weapon because his weapon's is concealed.
Yeah.
So these are things that they're trying to bring out. That's stupid. Yeah. It's asinine. So you have all these people talking all this bullshit, and they're wrong, and they're trying to cover up something. Well, the body cam you're not ever going to see. I honestly believe it. You'll never see it, and if you do see it, it's going to be altered in some form. It's not going to show the true thing, because article I read today, I don't have no proof of it. I have to research it again. Is that they're not releasing the body cam video?
No, they're not, and you're absolutely right about that. Really great call, sir. And, you know, I'm very appreciative that I have people like you that listen to the show and call in. Most of my listeners are extremely informed and intelligent, and I'm very grateful for that. Going to the YouTube super chat, including Terrence. Terrence Jones says, "Brian, listening to these maggot supporters defending these ICE murders and Trump, I believe they just may be pedophiles themselves." Well, that might be possible. It could be very possible, Terrence, and I appreciate your support in the YouTube super chat. Let's go to David. David is next up on PTL. Hello, David.
Hey, Brian. I just wanted to continue our conversation from yesterday, if you don't mind. I don't mean to rehash the same exact thing I said yesterday, but I think, you know, there's a fundamental disagreement between you and me where whether or not he committed crimes, right? The guy, Alex. And again, you know, when he got in between that woman and the officer and he puts his hand on the officer, I get he was helping her. I do agree that he was helping her. But regardless of someone's opinion, that is a crime. You can't
David,
do that.
David, here's the problem. But here's the problem, in my opinion, with this conversation. Even if that's true, let's just say he doesn't shove the officer, which he doesn't. And let's just say he just puts his hand on the officer in a way of saying, "Hey, hang on a second. Let me help her get up." Even if that was true, even if everything you're saying is true, it does not justify shooting and
No,
killing
you're right.
him.
It doesn't.
David,
But
isn't
yeah,
that more
sure.
important to you? I mean, I get what you're saying.
No,
Listen,
you're right. But
listen, David.
Okay.
I wouldn't
Yeah,
put my hand on the officer. And as sad as it is seeing a woman being pushed to the ground, the way things are going in Minneapolis, I would not want to put myself in that situation either. However, it doesn't justify the end all, which was shooting him in the back, killing him. To me, that's more important.
Here's the thing. I'm not saying that doesn't justify his death, but that was the beginning of the confrontation.
But these are professionals. They're supposed to be professionals. They're supposed to be able to de-escalate.
Yeah,
at a maximum, and I said this with Renee Good too, at a maximum, fine. You want to arrest him for putting your hand on somebody? Okay, fine. I think it would be a little absurd, but that's one thing. They pepper sprayed him, which was not warranted. Then
I disagree. I think it was warranted.
Because
you have to look at it from the officer's point of view right there.
Okay, so if that was their intent
on him, and the officer's not
then
going to know if he
explain
has
to me
good or bad intent.
Then explain to me after they pepper spray him and he's pushed to the ground, why they continue to kick him in the head. By the way, I'm not making this up. It's all on video. They punch him in the face. They're kicking him. Not one officer, not two, 5 or 6 are beating the pulp out of him in the last seconds of his life. Somebody yells, gun, gun, gun. One of the officers, you can clearly see him taking his weapon away. And then after his weapon is taken away, they execute him. The first shot in his back, David. That's got to bother you more than anything that we've talked about.
Well, here's from what I could tell what happened. They took his gun and someone yelled gun, and then they looked at his right arm, which seemed, I think it had his phone, it had an object, and the officers around him didn't know exactly
then
what
guess
that was.
what,
And
David?
in the split second of them hearing gun,
then David,
and then a gun was taken from
then
them.
David,
yeah.
If that's true, and by the way, I don't know if it's true, but let's just hypothetically
Neither
say,
do I, but
okay,
we have
hold
to
on.
only go by the evidence we
Okay,
have.
so let's just say that is plausible, that maybe that happened.
Right.
Then number one, Kristi Noem should not be calling him a domestic terrorist. Number two, Stephen Miller should not be calling him an assassin. The attacks from almost everybody in the Trump administration and almost everybody on the right making him to be the bad guy here is completely unjustified. Example, what Kristi Noem should have done. She's clearly not smart enough to do this. This is a tragic situation. It's very sad. We don't want these things to happen. There needs to be a full investigation, and we need to figure out the facts. If she said that, that would lower.
Renee Good. I agree.
And with Renee Good, yes, both situations.
Yeah, I agree.
The way the Trump administration is handling this is the opposite of the way it should be handled. And also, there is at least 2 ICE officers that looked excited. There's video of an ICE officer clapping his hands, jumping up and down after this happened. These are some of these people.
Yeah, but that still
sick.
doesn't mean that his shooting was not justified. And
It
also,
doesn't. No, but what it does
everything
mean
you said about Trump. Yeah.
What it does mean is that these are not people that should be Border Patrol agents or ICE officers. They don't have the temperament.
Well, even if you're right even if let's say you are right, and that let's say they do need more training, and I agree with you that the Trump administration is being absurdly dumb with the way they're handling things, but that's a separate argument. Even if all those things are true, based on everything we've seen in the video, they had reason to believe this was a guy who was resisting arrest, had a gun on him. Yes, it was taken. They saw an object in his hand.
I disagree.
They heard gun, and then they shot him in what they viewed as self-defense.
I disagree with a lot of what you just said. First of all,
what do you disagree with?
Let's start with the resisting arrest. I didn't see one officer that tried to put handcuffs on this guy. That's number one. Number two, they're beating him when he's on the ground. Okay, these officers.
Because he's still resisting.
He's getting kicked
he's
in the
stomach.
He's squirming. He's squirming around because he's getting kicked and punched. He's getting assaulted.
He's resisting them.
What do you expect, David? What do you expect a guy to do when a guy is getting kicked in the face, punched in the face, punched and kicked in the stomach? You think he's just going to remain still? Of course, the guy is going to try to protect himself. That's not assaulting police officer. By the way, they were all standing up when he was on the ground because they're thugs. That's why. And they weren't using proper technique. The proper technique would have been putting your knee on his back, turning him over, and immediately putting handcuffs on him. You're telling me 5 or 6 officers weren't capable of doing that? No. Their first instinct was to punch and kick.
Right. Even if that's what they should have done, and it was a lapse in proper protocol. Again, all of that still culminates to the fact that he had a weapon on him. They took it.
That is perfectly legal. Nothing.
I'm not saying it's not.
Then
legal.
why do you keep bringing it up? He didn't do anything wrong with the weapon. Just because he had a weapon on him doesn't mean it gives them the right to do anything that they did. Why do you keep bringing that up?
But here's why. Because what it told the officers in that moment, hey, we're seeing a guy who was resisting an officer, and he apparently had a weapon on him, and then they
never brandished it. Never tried to grab it.
He had other weapons on
never
him.
tried to. Never tried to grab it a weapon.
No, he didn't brandish.
Never brandished
I know
it.
that, but
Kristi Noem lied about that too.
If he had other weapons,
so you agree
that Kristi Noem lied about that? But
don't you find that a little bit? And you still believe DHS with this investigation when you have Kristi Noem saying he brandished a weapon and he's a domestic terrorist? You trust the investigation?
No, it's the same thing with Renee Good. I don't trust them to have an actual honest investigation, just as I don't trust the state of Minnesota to do it. It should be an outside, independent investigation.
Okay, so we have evidence. Hold on. We have evidence already that Kristi Noem lied. You admitted it. She lied about him brandishing a weapon. She called him a domestic terrorist. What evidence do you have that if the state investigates this, that it would be biased, or that you don't think they would conduct a fair investigation? I can give you evidence based on what Bovino said, based on what Kristi Noem said, based on what the vice president said. Basically, almost everybody in the Trump administration have already convicted this guy. What has the state done that would lead you to believe that it won't be a thorough investigation, that it'll be fixed?
Sure. It's because of what people in power of that state have said about ICE. It's obvious that it would be influenced by people like them. I don't trust people like Jacob Fry or
Jacob Fry wouldn't be conducting. Jacob Fry wouldn't be conducting the investigation.
Mayor. Obviously, he has some sort of pull. It's not like he has no power in this.
They've called.
I know that you know that.
They've called on an investigation, not from DHS. There won't be a thorough investigation. Look at what happened in the Good situation. How did that investigation go? It was a 1-hour investigation. Day or two, Blanche said, nope, nothing to see here. This is justified. There's no reason to investigate this any further. What makes you think that this isn't going to happen here?
Oh, I'm not disputing. Look, I think that unfortunately will happen. But I mean, why are you so against an independent investigation?
When did I say I was? When did I say?
Well, you're not. Well, you seem to imply you want Minnesota.
I asked you. I didn't imply anything. I didn't imply anything. I just simply asked you a question. Why do you think the state wouldn't do a good job? I have called on an independent investigation with Renee Good. It won't happen because of the Trump administration. I've called for an independent.
What is your idea of an independent investigation?
Both sides agree. Both sides come to the table and agree on an independent entity investigating. They should do that in this case. They should do that in the prior case because there's too much media.
Well, we're in agreement on that.
Well, I never once insinuated that I didn't want an independent investigation. What I don't want.
I just wanted to get where your framing of it, where you're coming from when you say independent.
Can you agree that this man, regardless of what you think might have been in the officers' heads, and by the way, I don't think anything you said about any of these Border Patrol agents justifies what they did, no matter what they were thinking. You agree with me. He was unarmed. He was shot in the back and he was killed. And that is not the way this should have gone down. You agree with me there?
Well, I mean, I agree with all those things. The way it should have gone down, I wish they didn't shoot him, but I can understand why they did. And I think it's a justified shooting.
On what basis?
Are you
say
there?
That? Yeah, I'm listening.
Just on everything I articulate. I mean, in a split second, when they see an object in his hand and they hear guns, they don't know if he has another gun on him. And in the heat of the moment, when everyone's moving around and they see an object.
So wait, hold on a second.
To reasonably think.
So if you have a kid that's running from the police and he has a cell phone in his hand and an officer shoots and kills a 15-year-old boy, and the justification of the shooting is, oh gosh, I thought that was a gun. It was his cell phone. You're okay with that? You think that officer should be out and no repercussions?
Look, I wouldn't be okay with that, but you're asking me to compare a real life situation with a hypothetical.
This is a real life situation. Just because the officers might claim, oh, geez, oops, I thought his cell phone was a gun, is not legal justification to say they didn't commit any crimes and this was okay. It's not okay, David.
In the context of what happened, yes, it is, because of everything else that went on. Like I said, he was resisting. They took a gun from him. They didn't know if that was the only weapon on him.
You keep saying he was resisting. He was. Right as he was pepper sprayed, he had one hand that he intentionally put up in the air And then the other
Which
hand,
made contact with the
and
officer.
then he
whether
had,
you agree with that or not,
okay,
that is that he then
okay,
he was
that's
getting
not
in the way of
that's
an
not
investigation.
that's not the definition of resisting. And then when he's on the ground,
No, but it
he's
is
squirming.
impeding.
That you said, okay, that's not what you said, though. That's a different topic. Then he's on the ground and he's being kicked and punched. And of course, you're going to be
Right.
squirming around a little bit because you're trying to defend yourself in a lot of pain. That is not resisting.
Right.
That is trying to defend yourself. Okay. It's not like they put him on the ground and they said, put your two hands behind your back. And the guy said, no, F you. And then, was pushing and shoving. That would be resisting. He didn't even get the chance to resist. You know why? Because they were kicking and punching him to a pulp.
Well, he resisted prior to that.
That's not
He
true.
resisted prior
No,
to that.
that's
Like I
not
said
true.
yesterday when he planted his feet when the officer was
I
pushing
didn't
him
see.
back.
I didn't see
Yes,
any
you
of
did.
that. I didn't see.
You did see it.
I
'cause
did
you
not
watched
see
the
any.
video.
No,
You
I
absolutely did.
did not see
Yes,
him
you did.
resisting
I know
arrest.
I know for a fact you did.
I did not
You've seen every video.
I did not see him resisting arrest. I just completely and totally disagree with you, David, but I do appreciate the phone call. Thank you very much. I just don't know how anybody can justify what took place here. He was not resisting. He was on the ground getting kicked and punched. Big deal. So he laid a hand. Would I have done it? No. He was trying to help a woman up, and he was trying to tap the guy on the shoulder. Hey, give me a second. Let me get her up. That's not assaulting an officer, by the way. Okay, it's not assaulting an officer. It's not assault. So, David, I completely disagree with you in your assessment of this. I got 30 seconds for Kirk. Kirk, go right ahead. Hi, Kirk. Go right ahead.
Hey, Brian. Well, I never thought that my state would be the epicenter of a litmus test for an authoritarian regime. I have to say, it is astonishing to me, these people who call in and try to twist themselves into a pretzel on this situation when we have clear evidence from every angle that this was an over-the-top, this was murder. This is what this was. MAGA has lost the plot on this.
It is indefensible.
Stop trying to defend ICE. And ICE and the CBP are operating outside of the bounds of constitutional law and are under the disguise of a legitimate federal agency, to which they are not.
I completely agree with you, and I'm sorry to have to cut you off, my friend, because I want to let you keep going. Unfortunately, I'm up against the clock. Please call back again tomorrow. By the way, that goes for anybody else. We had full lines that were on hold. I apologize to all of you. We'll try to get to you, and we'll put you in front of the line tomorrow. If you would please call back. Please check out my website, pushingthelimits.live. Again, that website is pushingthelimits.live, where you can make donations, $5, $10, $20 a month, whatever you can afford. We greatly appreciate it. That's pushingthelimits.live. Leonard Cardinal will be joining us in studio. And again, for all of you, the conversations that I had to cut a little short, or maybe you were waiting on hold and you weren't able to get through, we try to get to as many calls as we can. Please call back tomorrow, and we will put you, Numchuck will put you at the front of the line, and we'll make sure to get to your calls as soon as possible tomorrow. Also, my thanks to Ron Filipowski from Midas Touch. I love you guys. Stay strong. We'll be back at it tomorrow, same time, same place. Have a great day, everybody.
Hey, everybody. Are you struggling to find a pizza place that reminds you of Brooklyn? That true blue New York style pie? Well, worry no more. Stallone's Italian Eatery Pizza is a knockout. We're located at 467 East Silverado Ranch Boulevard, just off of Premium Road, half a mile east of South Point Casino, just minutes from the Las Vegas Strip. Come by and grab a slice of pie. Plus, check out our Brooklyn-inspired Italian cuisine. Our sandwiches are super. Hero, that is. Because why be a sub when you can be a hero? Stallone's Italian Eatery is here to serve you phenomenal food, Vegas. Forget about it.
Who would have thought there'd be so many kids playing ice hockey in the desert? Jake Helps Hockey Foundation and the Las Vegas Ice Warriors, founded by Gina Yusufzai 8 years ago, made it possible for families who can't afford the equipment and fees. Donate today at www.hockeyforkids.org and help us continue making a difference. Join us in supporting Jake Helps Hockey Foundation and the Las Vegas Ice Warriors, where every kid gets a shot at the starting line. Just a reminder, our website is www